Manchester United's two new youth signings are official and set to be announced next month. Could a surprise boost for Victor Gyokeres be on the way? He's rejected Juventus. Arsenal apparently agreed terms with Sesko. Are Arsenal going for Sesko? Are they going for Gyokeres? Because if Arsenal are going for Sesko, then Manchester United are all of a sudden favourites to get Victor Gyokeres. We've got updates on Ekitike. Manchester United have turn their attention towards Hugo Ekitike, and David Ornstein breaks down the deal and what the structure of the deal could be like. While it is a high fee, it could be structured with a lot of add-ons. We've also got other updates coming in on a potential Rashford swap deal with Barcelona defender Ario, and Manchester United have been linked to a new striker target playing over in Belgium, who did get over 20 goals last season. So, hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup. Well, I'm going to round up all the latest Manchester United news in 10 minutes for you guys, starting with the latest on Victor Gyokeres. So this came in from Fabrizio Romano. He says, I don't think Gyokeres said no to Manchester United. I think Gyokeres told his agents to tell Manchester United's priority is Arsenal, which is different because the situation could change in the coming weeks. Now, originally it was suggested that Victor Gyokeres had rejected Manchester United, and now all the journalists are taking a U-turn saying, no, he's not saying no to United, he's still open to United, but if Arsenal go in for him, he would pick Arsenal over Man United. A little bit like Mbeumo and Spurs. Now, this is interesting because why has it gone from rejecting Man United to know he's still interested as soon as there's been more news about Arsenal and Sesko? Is that because, there's potential he won't go to Arsenal? My mindset is this. I think Arsenal must have said something to Victor Gyokeres to make Victor Gyokeres think he's first choice over Sesko, for Victor Gyokeres to be bold enough to reject Juventus and tell Man United his preference is Arsenal. For him to do that and his agent to do that, I feel like, I know there's reports coming out that they've agreed terms with Sesko and that, but I feel like Gyokeres has to be first choice or he's ridiculously stupid. Now, another interesting thing that was said is that obviously George Mendes is now trying to find a solution. George Mendes is now involved in the Gyokeres situation, and we do have a very good relationship with George Mendes, which is a big boost for United. And he's rejected Juventus. Everyone have been saying, well, if Arsenal go for Sesko, he might just go to Juventus, but he wants Premier League football. Arsenal's his preference. Man United's the second choice. Do we want to be sloppy seconds? Ideally not. But, if he still wants to come to United after Arsenal say no, then I'm not going to turn it down. I'm just not going to be prioritising him. If all of a sudden Arsenal gets Sesko done tomorrow, I'm not going to be going in for Gyokeres over Mbeumo. Mbeumo's made it clear he only wants us, so we've got to prioritise him. And as David Ornstein says, we are prioritising Mbeumo. Mbeumo is the deal we're hoping to do next. And then we'll move on to strikers, but we need a few sales. In my video yesterday, we spoke about Højlund, Sancho, the latest on their sales. We know that Anthony, there's him and Batista in talks. We've got Rashford, Barcelona to talk about later, which could help. But he's rejected Juventus. They're trying to find a solution. He's not said no to United, but Arsenal was his preference. But there is reports that Arsenal are close to a deal with Sesko. Apparently they've agreed terms. Now, I look at the price that Leipzig want for Sesko, and I just think surely Arsenal don't pay that when they can get Gyokeres for potentially cheaper. And if Arsenal want to go from second to first, I feel like Gyokeres is maybe a better guy for them. I think if they already had a top striker, Sesko's who they would want to learn. So that's the one thing. For me, I surely think that clearly there's been some contact in Gyokeres' close circle where he's confident he's got the Arsenal move for him to make it clear he wants Arsenal. But you never know. If Arsenal go for Sesko, United are back in that race. Now, talking of strikers, Manchester United have signed a young striker and a young wing-back. And a lot of people are saying, well, is it done? When did they join? When is it announced? Solly gave an update on that the other day, and he said that both Diego Leon and Enzo Kana Biyik are expected to be officially announced by Manchester United around July time due to certain regulations. Both have successfully completed their medical and signed their document. Diego's expected to join the youth side, a little bit like Sekou Kone and Chido, and Enzo's expected to go out on loan to Lausanne. That was obviously said earlier. And, a lot of people have been saying, well, where's Enzo? Where's Diego Leon? Are they going to be going out on pre-season tour? This, that. They can't come until July because of just official. The deal's official. The medicals are done. I know they haven't been announced. But look, we knew that we signed Chido Obi Martin for like a good 4 months before he could come into United in like October. It's just sometimes things take longer to sort and do this and do that. But Diego Leon is 18, Enzo Kana Biyik is 18, and in July they will come in to Manchester United, and great young talents there. So, if we don't get Gyokeres, which is a strong possibility despite this boost coming in, United look like they're going to be turning their attention to Hugo Ekitike. Now, I like Ekitike. I don't like the price of Ekitike. I think he's absolutely ridiculous. But let's dive into what's been said in regards to Hugo Ekitike here. Manchester United called the agents of Hugo Ekitike in recent days to gain an understanding of the situation. Chelsea and Liverpool are heavily interested. So Romano has confirmed, yes, United are in for Ekitike. Yes, conversations have taken place. Yes, United are interested. That doesn't mean United are going to win the race. Liverpool are there, Chelsea are there. But one, we know the player is a Man United fan. And two, we know Manchester United are involved. Manchester United are interested. Manchester United like the player. And we've known from a few sources lately that they're willing to lower the price and be quite flexible on the price, because nobody's going to pay 85 million for that guy. Nobody's going to pay that. So I think it's one of those where like Liverpool, Chelsea, United all want the same player, but what's the price? No one's going to pay 85 million. Now, David Ornstein was asked about the price, and he said it's not cheap, but it could be easy to structure. He says when you speak to English clubs, they think they could pry Ekitike away for a bit lower than 85 million. Maybe if a club got 80 million with some add-ons or whatever, I don't know how they would structure it, but there is some optimism that it's not quite as high as Frankfurt are letting it be known. Now, there was some reports saying that maybe you could do it like a 50 million base fee, 10 million and 15 million in realistic add-ons to take it to 65 million, and then 10 million in less realistic add-ons to take it to 75 million in total. So if he's really, really good, you pay 75 million. If he's not great, you still pay about 65 million in add-ons. There's talk of it potentially being 60 million, 10 million in realistic add-ons, 10 million in non-realistic add-ons, and then you can pay it over 5 years, which would work out cheaper than Gyokeres and Osimhen because of PSR and how it works. So I think that's why United are exploring it, because if they can get them on lower wages and they can split the deal over 5 years with a lot of add-ons, it would cost United less than bringing in Gyokeres or Osimhen, which is obviously something they got to take into account with PSR. But I feel like if you get Mbeumo and you get Cunha, while we need a striker, if we don't land a striker, like there's still solutions. Xerxes is going to work well with Cunha and Mbeumo. But and you've got Ahmad, so you could play one day you could play a front three of Ahmad and Mbeumo central, Cunha on the left. Another day you can play a front three of where Ahmad goes to wing back, Mbeumo on the right, Cunha on the left, and you can play Xerxes up top. Another day you could be playing Xerxes left 10, Cunha up top. Well, not Xerxes left 10 actually. If Xerxes there, he's going to play striker, but you could play Mason Mount left 10, Cunha up top, and Mbeumo right 10. There is things you can do. And Laurie Whitwell says, I do think there is the thought that if Mbeumo and Cunha do happen, then United's front line could potentially be a rotating carousel with those two potentially occupying the number 9 roles at different points. Now, look, their best row is going to be in the 10s, but like Xerxes, they can also play 9. And that's something where them and Xerxes can already take those positions. And if you get a midfielder in, Bruno becomes another 10 option, so you have more leeway to play one of those guys at striker. I think there's all those possibilities and potentials and stuff as well. And that's why I say I think we need a striker and we have to sign a striker this summer. But I don't think it's the end of the world if we decide after signing a Mbeumo, all right, Ekitike is too expensive, let's go in for midfielders and then we'll go back for strikers in August. And maybe we bring in a striker that isn't the most amazing striker in the world, but just for depth and a bit of experience, you know? So let's talk about Marcus Rashford. Barcelona are about to sign Nico Williams, but Rashford apparently still believes that Barcelona will go in for him as well as signing Nico Williams. It doesn't affect the deal. But Barcelona were saying they had no money and they could only do loans for Rashford, but all of a sudden they have the money to do a permanent deal for Nico Williams because Barcelona are full of shite. But Barcelona now interested potentially, according to reports in Spain, in doing a swap deal. It was said reports in Spain suggest that Barcelona are open to including Ario in the potential swap deal for Rashford. United have long-standing interest in Ario, and Barca see this as a way to land Rashford. I don't think this would happen because I think one of the main reasons of selling Rashford is not just to get him off the wage bill, but it's pure profit. United want cash; they want money cash because they'll get the pure profit from selling Rashford. So unless it's like you buy Rashford for 40 million or we buy Ario for 35 million, do you know what I mean? I don't see United really willing to do that. I also think that Ario hasn't been amazing at Barcelona last season, despite them winning the league and having a great season. I think there's a reason they'd be willing to offload him. So for me, I think it's important to get Rashford out. Amorim doesn't want him. He doesn't want to be here, and he's heavy on the wage bill. But I don't think we should be desperately trying to get him out for like something on the cheap, like 20 million, or doing swap deals. Because if Barcelona want the deal, it's normally because it benefits them, not us. Last but not least, there was reports coming out from Graham Bailey that United is showing interest in striker Tolu Arokade, and United scouts have pushed Arokade's name, and he's someone that Vivel and Wilcox appreciate. Now, you might be saying, who's Arokade? He's a player at Genk. He's got 21 goals and 40 matches this season. For me, he isn't what we need at number 9. Like, I'm not going to act like I watched the Belgium league and I know loads about this guy. I've heard of this guy. I've heard some decent things about him. But he's 24, and yes, he's got good goals over in the Belgian Pro League and decent numbers. But it's like, I felt like if we had a good striker and we needed a backup striker, this is what we'd listen to, but we need a really good striker. And, a rocket there could be one to watch. It could be something that works out. Surely you can't do a worse job than Højlund, a Nigerian striker, 24 years of age. So it could be one to watch, but I have to do more research on him as well. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for tuning into today's video. This was your 10-minute Manchester United news, transfer news, and update roundup. I will be back live later today. Thank you for watching. Bye.